Ladies and gentlemen, there will be times in life when no one claps for you, no one believes in your vision, no one understands your journey. And that's exactly when you rise. Not for the world, but for yourself. You do it alone. Because dreams are personal. Growth is personal. And the grind, that's between you and your future. Don't wait for applause. Don't chase validation. Learn to clap for yourself. Own your mornings. Own your silence. Do the work when no one's watching. That's where champions are made. When it's lonely, remember this, it's in solitude where power is born. Do it alone. And let your success speak loudly. Self-reliance is power. It's the kind of power that doesn't need to be loud or announced because it speaks through actions, through results, and through an unshakable presence. In a world that constantly conditions people to seek external approval, to wait for someone else to open the door, to look for someone to hold their hand, self-reliance teaches you that the only person you ever truly need to believe in you is you. It's not arrogance. It's awareness. It's understanding that the most dependable strength you can ever possess is the one that comes from within. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to walk your journey. People can support, they can advise, they can guide, but no one can do your push-ups for you. Self-reliance begins the moment you realize that you don't need permission to start. The world doesn't need to approve your path before you take the first step. Most people don't begin, not because they lack ability, but because they're waiting. Waiting to feel ready, waiting for a perfect time, waiting for someone to push them. But self-reliance cancels the wait. It acts without applause. Without reassurance, without company. It's an attitude that says, even if I walk this road alone, I will keep walking. Because what you build alone, you own. And what you own builds you. There's a kind of confidence that doesn't come from compliments or likes or reposts. It comes from the hours spent in silence, perfecting your craft. It comes from showing up day after day. Not for show, but for growth. It's the kind of confidence that builds itself brick by brick. Through consistency, through resilience, through self-discipline. And that's what self-reliance truly is, a deep-rooted confidence in your own ability to figure things out, to endure the pain, to stand even when it's hard, and to find the next move when everything feels uncertain. When you are self-reliant, you don't shrink when people leave. You don't fall apart when support disappears. Because your foundation isn't built on people, it's built on principles. And one of those principles is responsibility. Self-reliant individuals take extreme ownership of their lives. They don't blame. They don't complain. They accept the fact that where they are is a result of the choices they've made, and where they go next depends on the choices they're willing to make now. The truth is, there's a kind of freedom in self-reliance that can't be found anywhere else. When you're not emotionally dependent on others for validation, when your happiness isn't tied to other people's presence, when your productivity doesn't collapse because someone isn't watching, you become untouchable. Not because life stops challenging you, but because your strength no longer depends on the world agreeing with you. It's easy to move when you have encouragement. It's powerful to move when you don't. It's easy to believe when everyone claps for you. It's powerful to believe when no one notices. Self-reliance sharpens your focus. It eliminates noise. It helps you realize that the true competition is not with others, with your own comfort, your own laziness, your own distractions. Greatness has always been built in the shadows. You don't see the early mornings, the late nights, the rejections, the failures, the questions, the doubts. But self-reliant people face those shadows with determination. They know that success is not gifted, it's earned. And earning it requires you to work even when the world doubts you, to keep going even when progress is slow, and to trust the vision even when the results are invisible. Self-reliance also cultivates clarity. When you stop asking others what you should do with your life, when you stop relying on opinions, you create space to hear your own inner voice. That voice may not always be loud, but it's honest. And that honesty is what leads you to your truth. When you rely on others, you inherit their fears, their doubts, their limitations. But when you rely on yourself, you tap into a source that is uniquely yours, your potential. In every journey of success, there comes a point where no one gets it. No one understands why you work so hard, why you wake up so early, why you stay focused when everyone else is distracted. That's the point where many quit. But the self-reliant, they stay, they build, they continue, not because of support, but because of purpose. They know that their dream is their responsibility, and no one else can carry it for them. The world often glorifies team effort, collaboration, and unity, and rightly so. But what it rarely talks about is the power of solitude. The power of sitting with your own doubts and still deciding to show up. The power of fighting internal battles no one sees and still delivering excellence. Self-reliance doesn't mean you reject help. It means your effort is not dependent on it. You welcome help, but you don't wait for it. You're willing to walk the first mile alone. And if people join you later, that's a bonus, not a requirement. Being self-reliant also means you become the source of your own discipline. You don't need someone to remind you of your goals. You remind yourself. You create systems. You build routines. You design your life in a way that supports your ambitions. You understand that your future is not created by hope. It's created by habits. And those habits are your responsibility. There is a silent strength in doing things by yourself. When you work in silence, you remove the pressure of performance and replace it with the freedom to grow. You're not worried about looking good. You're focused on becoming better. Self-reliant individuals understand that every time they solve a problem on their own, they gain experience. And with that experience comes confidence. With that confidence comes boldness. And with boldness comes transformation. You don't need the world to agree with your dream for it to be valid. You don't need everyone to support your vision for it to be worth pursuing. You need clarity, commitment, and courage. And all of those can be developed within you. That's the real beauty of self-reliance. It turns you inward to discover strengths you never knew you had. There will always be distractions. There will always be people who say it can't be done. There will always be voices trying to talk you out of your greatness. But when you are self-reliant, those voices become background noise. You listen to your own conviction. You move based on your own standards. You rise not because of applause, but because you refuse to stay down. In the early stages, you may not get recognition. You may not get encouragement. You may not even see immediate results. But if you continue, if you persist with faith in your ability and commitment to your purpose, something powerful begins to happen. You begin to transform from the inside out. You become someone who no longer fears setbacks, because you trust your ability to bounce back. You become someone who no longer craves direction, because you've learned how to create your own path. Self-reliance isn't about rejecting relationships. It's about being strong within yourself, so you can bring strength to your relationships. It's about being whole, not half. When you're whole, you don't use people to fill your emptiness. You connect from a place of abundance, not desperation. You become a giver, not a taker. A builder, not a borrower. And that changes everything. The world respects those who stand strong in solitude, who hold the line when it's easier to fold. Because those people are rare. They're grounded. They're focused. They don't chase trends. They build legacies. They don't ask, will someone help me? They ask, how can I help myself first? That mindset is what separates the average from the exceptional. Even in the face of failure, the self-reliant don't retreat. They reflect. They ask better questions. They analyze. They learn. They pivot. But they never give up. Because giving up would mean betraying themselves. And they've come too far for that. They understand that even failure is a lesson in strength. Every setback builds resilience. Every closed door builds redirection. Every lonely hour builds mental fortitude. When your power comes from within, it can't be taken away. It can't be shaken by opinions. It can't be diminished by circumstances. It becomes a part of who you are. And once you taste that kind of power, you stop looking outward for validation. You stop needing others to believe in your vision, because your belief becomes enough. Your hunger becomes enough. your drive becomes enough. Self-reliance is not just a mindset. It's a decision. A decision to own your time, your energy, your growth. A decision to no longer wait. A decision to act now, to rise now, to believe now, to do the work even when it's lonely, even when it's hard, even when the finish line seems far. Because the ones who are truly powerful are not those who started with a crowd. They are the ones who dared to begin alone. The most powerful transformations happen in silence. While the world celebrates loud victories and flashy success, the real work is happening behind closed doors. Early in the morning, late at night, in the quiet where no one claps. The silent grind is not glamorous. It's not viral. It doesn't get likes or applause. But it's where the foundation is built. The people who are truly making waves in the world aren't talking about their plans every day. They're executing them in the shadows. They're not showing off their routines. They're sticking to them when it's hardest to do so. Silent grinding is about choosing consistency over comfort. It's about waking up before the sun, when the world is still asleep, and showing up for yourself. It's about training when you're tired, writing when you're uninspired, working when you're unrecognized. Because those silent hours compound. They build mental toughness. They forge discipline. And they separate the committed from the casual. Everyone wants loud results. Everyone wants their name in lights. But very few are willing to do the quiet, lonely, thankless work that leads to those moments. Loud results don't come from noise. They come from patience, sacrifice, and a deep commitment to growth. They come from doing the same small things, day in and day out, until they produce something extraordinary. The loudest success is rooted in the most silent struggle. You don't need to announce your goals. You don't need to explain your grind. Let your results make the noise. People might not see your struggle. They might not understand your absence, your boundaries, your late nights, your early mornings. But that's okay. Because this journey isn't about being understood. It's about being relentless. You don't owe the world an explanation while you're building. You owe yourself the discipline to stay committed. While others post, you practice. While others sleep, you strategize. While others seek shortcuts, you stack skills. In silence you discover who you really are, without the validation, without the noise, without the performance, just you and your vision. Silence forces you to confront your excuses. It forces you to become the kind of person who moves without motivation, who acts without attention, who doesn't need to be seen to believe. It's a hard place to be. But it's where the strongest people are forged. Success is not a public event. It's a private process. It's shaped by all the reps that no one counts, the practice that no one praises, the progress that no one notices. The world only sees the outcome. But you know the grind, the skipped parties, the sacrifices, the internal battles. And that's what makes the results so loud when they finally come. Because they're built on integrity, on effort, on perseverance. The silent grind isn't just about work ethic. It's about character. It's about the decision to keep going when no one's watching, when no one is cheering you on, when quitting would be easier. That level of dedication rewires your identity. You no longer rely on hype. You no longer need approval. You've become your own motivation. Your standards elevate. Your circle changes. Your habits solidify. In the silence you develop clarity. You learn what matters. You stop wasting time on things that don't serve your mission. You eliminate distractions. You protect your energy. You focus on building, not broadcasting. Because when the results come, they won't be ordinary. They'll be undeniable. Loud results don't ask for attention. They command it. You don't have to talk about how focused you are. You don't have to remind people how hard you're working. The outcome will do it for you. The business you built, the skills you mastered, the body you transformed, the life you created. Let that be the proof. Because the loudest message you can ever send is your transformation. Most people underestimate silence. They think if you're not speaking, you're not moving. If you're not posting, you're not progressing. But the truth is, real grinders know better. They understand that silence is a weapon, that the less noise you make, the more focused you are, that the fewer people who know your moves, the harder they are to stop. When you grind in silence, you also become mentally stronger. You're not looking for a dopamine hit from every post. You're not chasing compliments. You're chasing progress. And that mindset is rare. It's powerful. It's the reason some people rise, while others stay stuck in the cycle of starting and quitting. Starting and quitting, always needing to be seen, always needing to be applauded. The silent grind teaches you delayed gratification. It teaches you that greatness is not instant. It's earned through repetition, through boredom, through frustration, through the days you don't feel like it, but show up anyway. Every brick you lay in silence becomes part of the legacy you reveal to the world. And when that legacy finally surfaces, it echoes. People notice. People ask how you did it. But they didn't see the hours. They didn't see the nights you cried, the mornings you doubted yourself, the setbacks you overcame. They only see the roar, not the whisper that built it. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come after the longest silence, because during that silence, you weren't idle. You were preparing. You were studying. You were healing. You were sharpening your tools. You were elevating. And when you emerged, you didn't come back as the same version of yourself. You came back evolved, stronger, wiser, more focused, more relentless. There's something sacred about doing the work alone. You build a relationship with yourself that can't be broken. You stop outsourcing your worth. You stop waiting for others to believe in you. You learn to believe in yourself, in the quiet. And that belief becomes unshakable. Because it wasn't built on praise. It was built on perseverance. The grind is personal. No one will ever fully understand your vision. No one will carry your dream like you do. So stop looking for cheerleaders. Stop explaining yourself. Or focus on the process. Let the product speak. Because when you finally unleash what you've been building in silence, it will make the noise for you. And that noise will be too loud to ignore. Most of the greatest minds in history did their best work in silence. Innovators, creators, champions, they all understood the value of tipping time to evolve behind the curtain. Then when the curtain rises, the world watches in awe. But it only happens when you've respected the quiet, honored the grind, and trusted the process. It's easy to crave validation, easy to chase attention. But that's not where legacy lives. Legacy is built in the long silent hours, in the repetitions that no one applauds, in the days you question your path, but stay the course. That's the space where giants are made. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Let others talk. Let others post. Let others chase fast results. You're building something different, something lasting, something real. And real takes time. It takes silence. It takes solitude. The grind may be quiet, but the outcome will be so loud, the world won't be able to ignore it. Let your silence become your preparation. Let your preparation create results. Let your results become your voice. Because the most unstoppable individuals are not the ones who shout. They're the ones who build silently and emerge with excellence that speaks for itself. When you choose the silent grind, you're not choosing weakness. You're choosing strength, control, focus. You're choosing a level of commitment most people will never understand. And that's what makes the results so powerful. When they come, they weren't gifted. They weren't borrowed. They were earned. Earned in the dark. Earned in the silence. Earned through the grind. No one saw, but everyone will feel. The essence of silent grind, loud results, lies in embracing the quiet, unseen battles that lead to extraordinary success. In a world obsessed with noise, recognition, and instant validation, this speech reminds us that real progress is made in solitude, through relentless discipline, unwavering focus, and internal belief. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, and the unnoticed repetitions, where character is forged and dreams take form. This message inspires us to stop performing for applause, and instead perform for progress. The silent grind cultivates not just results,
but resilience. It trains the mind to withstand distractions, doubts and delays, and empowers us to build without the need for approval. When you commit to the process without needing an audience, the outcome speaks louder than any words ever could. That's the real power, when your transformation becomes undeniable, and your success echoes far beyond the silence it was born in. This speech is a call to action for every individual who dreams big. Trust the grind, respect the silence, and know that your effort, though unseen today, will one day produce results so loud, the world will have no choice but to listen.